Hey, yo, peace and blessings, blessings and peace. It's the boy Jarmel, Reece, man, and welcome back to another week of Just the Thought 2.0. We live on location. We're in Arizona. We're in Mesa, Arizona, to be exact, and we're in Valley Vision Studio, man. So shout out to Valley Vision for being able to let us use the studio. I got a very special guest, as always. I'm going to bring her in as soon as we come back, man. As soon as we bring the intro in, we'll be back with our guest.
Hey yo, peace and blessings, blessings and peace. It's the boy Jarmel Reece, and I want to share my experiences with you. If I had to put my life in one word, I would have to say
ridiculous, man.
From growing up in one of the worst neighborhoods in St. Louis, Missouri, launching a successful music career, recording with some of the top names in the industry, and launching my own clothing line, traveling the world, discovering the power behind yoga and meditation, and how it can heal the mind as well as the body. So tune in to my show, Just the Thought. Follow the story, like the page, subscribe. Let's write the rest of the story that you've always dreamed of. Peace and blessings, blessings and peace. It's the boy Jarmel Reece. See you soon.
Yo, welcome back, man, to another week of Just a Thought. I'm your host, Jarmel Reece. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe over here on YouTube and make sure you go to Spotify and subscribe. Tell a friend, all right? This week, man, I got a very special guest. She is in the building. It was definitely dope being able to meet her the other day. CEO Naay Moe, she in the building, man. It was I was just taken back. I don't know how many words to describe what it is, but welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. You know what I mean? So the reason I want you to be able to tell who you are, where you from, and where you come from. And but the reason I had you here is like I was telling you, it was just a little bit like I was inspired by your story. By being so young and being able to do what it is that you're doing and how you taking on the challenges in life. You know what I'm saying? So I was intrigued by it. So tell everybody who you are and where you come from.
I go by CEO Naay Moe. I was actually born and raised 20 years of my life in Bloomington, Illinois, about 2 hours south of Chicago. In 2021, I moved to Florida. I lived there for about 2 years. And after the hurricane, I ended up here with my mom.
Okay.
My mom ended up moving my senior year in high school, moved out on my own, kind of wanted her to get, to an area where they're making better money, better opportunity. And honestly, she could breathe better out here. She's a severe asthmatic.
Yeah. And how long you been out here?
I've been out here since January of 2023. So I just made a year actually this month.
Really?
Being out here, yeah.
Oh man. So how you and mom loving it? How y'all liking it?
I like being around my mom. She's probably the most consistent person I've had in my life. So, being reunited with her was, something that was well needed.
Yeah, and if mom is in the building, she is definitely supporting loud and she got the smile on and all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? So what made you like leave and go out on your own?
Honestly, where I'm from, it's a really small town.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly tell everybody it's probably like 3 to 5 square miles.
Yeah.
Trying to do something in a city like that, you can only get so big.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how they say, fish only grow to the size of their fishbowl. I had reached my capacity and I started to feel suffocated, doing music, being in the entertainment business or starting something of your own.
Yeah.
You got to be in a different environment because the support from your hometown is not going to be, your main crowd. That's something that I learned. It's the people that don't know you from a can of paint that are going to support you the hardest.
Yeah.
So I had to get to an environment that allowed me to be bigger than what my hometown allowed me to be. And that's when I decided to move with my dad, because I honestly haven't lived with him since I was probably about 8.
Yeah.
And so I thought there was an opportunity to reconnect, build a relationship, build the brand out there. And I actually got a lot of opportunities out there, really big opportunities. I did things with some really big YouTubers, King Sid, Curver of Dolo.
Yeah.
I really didn't do much music-wise out there. But
more branding stuff.
Yeah, more branding stuff for sure. I attended really big sneaker conventions. I bought tables and was selling merch. And honestly, I used to almost sell out every event. It was crazy. I did a Got Soul. And honestly, that's when I got merch to Rich the Kid.
Okay.
And
So how did that go? How that go?
I actually have a little clip of I was trying to catch him because he would try and walk around to the tables and have a peek at everything, but he would get slammed by people. So honestly, he went to what they call the pit. Mm-hmm. And people were trying to, wave up shoes like, hey, you want this, you want this. And I went over there and I'm like, here. He took the hat, he put it on, he flexed it in for a minute. Hey. And then the shirt, he had held it up and stuff. And he ended up giving it to his manager, to take home later. I never really saw him in it or anything after that. But, it was just dope to see him. Love. It was mad love from him for sure. Yeah. And he ended up commenting on the post that I had posted of him too. So I thought that was real dope.
That is dope. That's super dope. So let me go back to like, where does that come from? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to just be like, hey, at a young age, because mind people, you're 20, right?
I'm 23.
You're 23,
yep,
right?
Freshly.
So you saying basically you're 23 years old. You saying at a young age, what's a young age that you decided that, hey, the capacities, I've reached this?
I always tell everybody, it's just like, you feel like, I've always felt like I was in a box, like my whole life, kind of like, just different things kind of it just makes you feel real suffocated. And once I started exploring more of the world, start traveling outside of my city, started seeing different things, it put more pressure. It started feeling like the suffocation was more and more and more. And it got to a point where it was like, I'm moving. Yeah. I got to go. Yeah. I can't be here anymore. It's not that and honestly, I love my hometown so much. But like I was telling my mom the other day, from even just when I was a kid, and my recollection probably goes back to like being 5. From 5 to 20, I've seen that town go nothing but downhill. Yeah. Like when I tell you stores closed, there's just like a ghost town, it feels like. Mm-hmm. So I was like, it's a space that I have outgrown. Yeah. And it was just time. I don't know. It just clicked for me real fast too, because it was probably less than 6 months that I ended up moving from the time I made the decision.
See,
so
yeah, that's real. You was locked in on it.
Yeah, yeah. And it was like I've done what I could here. I started, but to keep going in the direction that I see, the vision that I see, I had to go.
Yeah, and you know what? It's amazing because it's a lot of people that especially from communities that just stay. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They always just say they're going to go do something. They're going to do this. You know what I mean? And I remember when I used to, because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, right? Mm-hmm. And so I felt the same way. It was just like they was suffocating. It was just like it was too small for me. I couldn't. And most of the time, even when I lived there, I grew up making music and stuff. So I used to travel and explore and do a bunch of different things. And when I started living there, it was depressing. Yeah. It was like, man, we're doing it. It was, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I mean, with my mental health, another reason I always knew I wanted to get out of there because the seasons affected me a lot in my mental health. Yeah. So, the cold, dark months that lasts like 6 months, I couldn't do that anymore either. So I knew when I was going to Florida or Phoenix in December, and I feel great. Like my first Florida in the winter was amazing, and it was like a complete change. That's when I was like, I knew I made the right decision by getting out. Not only because my brand, but mentally, I was doing so much better year round.
Hey, let me like look at this. Like for real. I'm gonna comment on that, right? Mm-hmm. And we gonna go with this. So I live right now. So I'm in that area where you're talking about Illinois. So I'm in this place called I be in Waukegan, Illinois.
Yep, I know exactly.
All that different type of stuff or whatever. And so I'm in Wisconsin. And it's cold right now, right? But I'm able to travel. I live in Wisconsin because I like it in the summertime. It's beautiful. I don't think it's anything like Illinois summers. It's beautiful downtown Chicago type of stuff. It's beautiful. But in the summertime, wintertime, it's depressing.
It is.
And if you know what I'm saying, if nobody's ever been there before, explain to me, because when I came to Arizona, man, I tell my friend, I had like a panic attack. Because I saw palm trees and different stuff for the first time in my life. And I was out of bad environments. Tell me, how was it for you in Florida? Was it like a culture shock? Was it different for the first time that you got there?
Yeah, my first year being home. So this is my going on my fourth year being gone. My first year was rocky, not only because I was dealing with being away from like all my family, but it was a culture shock. Like, I don't think people, not everybody understands like the seasonal depression side of things, because I don't think everybody gets it.
Yeah.
Some people are fine year round, but half of the year, every year for 20 years, I'm just down.
Yeah.
And I can't even explain it. And honestly, it goes back to even I had to switch bedrooms in the house because I used to stay in the basement with no sunlight or anything. People don't realize how much that vitamin D is important on your mental.
Absolutely.
It's not even like, oh, let's get a tan. It's you need that.
Yeah.
Like a life without no sunlight, it would just be crazy.
Yeah.
But being in Florida that first winter, it was a culture shock. I know I had some severe anxiety attacks. I don't know if it was because of the difference, or I don't really know what caused it, but I had never had really bad ones like that.
Yeah.
Until I moved away from that, and it was like breaking a cycle of, okay,
yep,
you know, we're not doing the cold dark months anymore. What do we do? And I think that's kind of something that had to do with, but like when you said it, it made me think about that was when I was having those real bad. I'm calling my mom, freaking out, all kinds of stuff. Like, and I look back, I'm like, yeah, that was definitely in those months, and that was it.
Because you start freaking out, your body is going through a shock.
Yeah,
and so it, you know what I'm saying, like it can, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, if you don't recognize it, like it can cause real depression.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But like you say, that sunlight it's a totally different ball game. And what I learned from it, it started when I moved to Arizona, and I had moved to Arizona for like 8-9 months or whatever. My whole, like, moving to Florida probably like changed your whole life.
It did.
It changed me from a healing standpoint. And it was this, I guess it could have been the sun. I'm not even gonna say I guess, it had to be the environment.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about, because what I saw some of the stuff in your like in your bio, you talking about how dealing with like even bipolar, being diagnosed with bipolar. How was that for you?
Honestly, there was a lot of things that I was kind of aware a little bit of mental illness when I was a little younger, but not to the point where it was fully understood. Like, I understood that my father dealt with the things that I dealt with, that my grandmother dealt with the things that I dealt with, but I never recognized it in myself, honestly. And I don't think I started to be triggered until my dad even moved away. Because honestly, that's when I started to have nightmares. And I started therapy when I was about, I think I was like 9 to 10. And I did it for a couple years and it started to help. But honestly, like, I idolized my dad growing up, like when I was up until he left. So it was like, I learned a lot of things from him.
Yeah.
Like just going about life. So it's like when he left, he was like, how do I do this? We don't cry. That's what he always tell me, we don't cry, suck it up. We don't talk about things like that. So it's like, I'm sitting here internalizing. What do I do after I internalize?
Yeah, you got me over here feeling emotional on certain things, because I got a daughter, right? And she, like, so I moved. And so she always like, Daddy, come home. Daddy, I come home. It's just like, she's so confused about what's going on. It's crazy. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, and my dad, like, he moved for the same reasons that I moved. Come to find out later in life, because he dealt with the seasonal depression so bad, like me, and actually worse than me. But it was just like a piece of me was always missing. I had my mom, and honestly, when my dad left, that's when I got super close with my mom. Like, we got the closest after he left, because as far back as I remember, it was always, I was with my dad. I was doing stuff with my dad, and I mean, I go back and forth, but I don't know why my dad was just the one that made the mark on me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then,
because we have, I think I say this all the time. It's like seasons with parents. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's going to need you as an adult. Somebody's going to need you as a kid. You're going to need one of those parents. Like, my mother raised me, right? And I think at the time my father was in jail. So, you know what I'm saying? My mother raised us as being like this, like, mother and father type of figure. So she was so hard on us. She was hard to deal with as an adult, you know what I mean? And so it was like, we started developing a relationship with our father, because all our father could do was be our friend. Yeah. Because I had to know him through a different type of thing. So, you know what I'm saying? Parenting is seasonal. you might get a mother at this time, you might get a father at this time, but you know, they always right on time.
Yeah, and my mom, she played both because my dad was so far away. So it's like she played both, and then my dad's sister, my aunt, I call her Auntie Mama.
Yeah.
She stepped in, you know, to give me that second parent feel.
Yeah.
So I never felt like I didn't have two parents. I just didn't have my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
So it was just going, and my mom was mainly a single mother most of my life too. So it was like I didn't want my mom to know when I was hurting. I didn't want my mom to know I was struggling when I was dealing with stuff either.
Yeah.
So I kept internalizing everything, you know. I'm not gonna lie. I did kind of ignore a lot of things. Like ignore my emotions for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's just something I picked up on with my dad. So it's like I'm internalizing, kind of putting this off to the side. Now that, you know, ignoring that it even happened, ignoring the emotions to it over the years, you know, that accumulates over the years. I always compare it to a Sprite bottle. I always say, like, you know, you fill up a bottle of Sprite, put the cap on it,
and shake it up.
Once you start shaking it up, shake it up. Somebody comes in your life, and you know they wanna be there for you. They want to love you. They're trying to peel off that cap.
Yep. And you just explode.
You explode.
Yep.
And I didn't really have my real explosion until about 2016.
Okay.
And that was the point where my mom found out how bad I was actually struggling. That I was self-harming myself and attempted to take my life.
Really?
And that's when, honestly, when my mom found out, I remember this day so vividly. Like, I came home because I was staying the night at a friend's house. I came home to get ready for school the next morning. When I walked in, my mom was just sitting there looking at me. And I'm like, that's not normally a good thing. So you think you're in trouble.
Right.
But she kind of had tears in her eyes. So I was like, what happened? So then she asked me, you know, about like my arms and stuff. And at that part, my heart kind of sank because I'm like, I felt busted. Like the police found out I was committing a crime.
Yeah.
And honestly, after that day, like she didn't know what to do because, I mean, as a parent, you find out your kid harming herself. I mean, I can only really imagine. But it's like, what she's in her head, she's like, what does she do? What does she do? She don't know whether to do this. And it's like something in me that day shook me like, I'm not doing this again. I can't hurt my mom like that.
Yeah.
And it was just something I can't describe it, like flipped the switch in me. And I made a promise, and a couple months later, I ended up getting a tattoo cover up the scars. It says "Time heals all things."
Yeah.
And ever since, I haven't self-harm. I haven't, you know, acted on any, you know, bad thoughts I've had or anything. But it was just something that day that shook me, and it made us a lot closer because I started to feel her in more on a lot. I still, you know, I don't tell my mom everything.
Of course, I mean,
you know, mom,
they,
you know, they find out their kids hurting. They like,
they ready to take on the world. No doubt.
I don't put that on my mom ever. I do, you know, as I got older and actually started reading like about psychology, understanding my mental illness, understanding myself.
Yeah.
And honestly, going to Florida helped me. Looking at my dad is like looking in a mirror.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm trying to tell you, man, like, you know, the thing about it is that life and the people that you're around all the time is just like a mirror. You know what I'm saying? It's like the things you don't like. I've had to learn the things that I don't like about somebody is the things that I don't even like about me. So I'll be like, dang, let me quit looking at this person this way. Or you learn how to stop having so much judgment. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially when you start looking at the mirror. So I'm gonna go off into, okay, so you went through all these things and then you came up with this apparel. Yeah, actually, so with everything that I went through in 2016, 2017, I had messed up my school year real bad. I missed like 52, 56 days of school. So they had this program they called the BACC. It's basically like a pre-college course where, you know, whatever you're trying to get your degree, you can kind of start it early. So at that point, I wanted to do, I've always been creative, so I wanted to do something like graphic design, video production. So I wanted to get in that course real bad, and they had denied me at first, because of my attendance the previous year. Yeah, that don't see ain't that how it work when you want to get your life together. They
and we ended. I think my mom ended up giving like having a deep talk with him, like, and they
Because you're gonna have to, gotta
like, we had to
explain for who
explain
you were.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta hold on. This isn't, because I mean, I've always been a straight A student.
Yeah.
I've never had, bad attendance like that. It was that one year that messed me up.
Yeah.
And honestly, they ended up letting me in the program, and I loved it. And we ended up getting to the projects where we were not only making designs but making t-shirts.
Yeah.
And they were like, you got to come up with something, like a logo and design and everything, and you got to put it on a t-shirt. That's the project. You show the t-shirt. But me, like, I like stuff to have meaning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, like, what do I put on a t-shirt? Like, I could put my name, but that's so simple. Like, and I'm in class and I'm just thinking, and this is the time where I was doing music. So a lot of my music is based off my experiences, all the lyrics.
Dope.
And on one of my songs, it was like, I've been broken way too much. Now I'm standing on my own 10 toes by myself when they all left me in the cold. And broken just stood out to me. But I was like, that's just too simple. Like, yeah, I know I've been broken, like, but then when I started thinking more about my childhood, the lyrics that speak about my childhood, and it was like, baby is what resonated with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you put it together, you get Broken Baby. So I'm like, that's it. I like that.
Yeah.
So I ended up, making my first design, and it was just words. It kind of looked like a graffiti, just Broken Baby. It was plain. And then I ended up creating a baby logo. So I was sketching in class, and I had learned how to do everything on a photo or on Illustrator. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna upload this little picture, and we're gonna trace it, and we're gonna color it. And I was like, I love this.
Went to work.
So I sold a lot of t-shirts out of school. Like, honestly, like, I put just the words alone. I was using everything in class.
You were selling t-shirts in school. Okay, look at you hustling
Yeah,
already.
everybody was like, dang, I want that. Dang, I'm selling t-shirts in school. So that's really just how everything started. Like, was just, it started out as just t-shirts.
Yeah, just messing around.
Yeah, like, I mean, it meant something to me, but nobody else really knows that. They just think the design's cool.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was till about, I had graduated and I started college, and I don't know if this was the middle of the semester, but I ended up calling my mom, and I was crying like, Mom, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh man,
like, Mom, I'm not
supposed
to be doing this right now. Like, and I was still doing Broken Baby.
Yeah.
And I was ordering batches of teas and selling them. I'm like, Mom, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing stuff with my brand, but stuff with my music, following my dream. And I was going to college for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And
hey, you know what though? Let me say this to you, right? So I understand exactly what you're talking about, right? So I'm a creator. Like, I can't stay somewhere too long, especially when it get to a job or doing something that somebody else telling me to do. You know what I mean? But it's like you actually be at the right place at the right time and understand, right? That school was just to change your life. Because you needed something different to put you in another direction from the direction that you was going through before.
Yep. And that's how it felt. It was just like, I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not going down the right path.
Now you're not going down the right path, but you was at that time because you needed to get out of that other situation. So it was like, okay, school pulled you out of that. And then when you snapped out of it, you like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't be doing this. I'm supposed
it's
to
the same thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And I'm not gonna lie, she was a little mad at me at first.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting it handed to
Oh
me.
yeah, I bet.
Because the way that I grew up versus the way my mom grew up, she didn't always have the same opportunities as me. So she always wanted to make sure that I had them.
Yeah.
And school was something that she wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And I gave it a try. I gave it an honest try. And I made, at the end of the day, I ended up finishing the semester because since I started it, she wanted me to finish it, which I respected. And that was started the beginning of me exploring more of my creativity and things that I could do.
Yeah.
I think right after I dropped out, probably I don't know if it was the same winter or I ended up somehow ending up on Fox Empire.
Okay.
I ended up going on as a cat or as an extra.
Look at that.
Pulled me up to play Taraji P. Henson's assistant. because they said I had the look.
Ah, see, look at that, look at that, look at that,
So
look
I'm
at
just
that.
exploring. I just start doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm doing, in the midst of that, I'm doing my brand and traveling. I ended up going on, I went on like a tour. I went to Vegas. I went to Florida. I came out here, and it was just like, that's when the suffocation started. Because I was shooting music videos in Vegas. And I came out here, shot a music video in Phoenix. And then I went to Florida and was just doing stuff. So that's when the suffocation started for real.
Really?
And it was just like everything. It was like it was closing in on me day by day.
Yep.
It's like I can't be here either.
You can't be there.
It's not the right thing. Like when you feel like you're veering off, you're not on the right path, you're not where you're supposed to be, you feel that.
Yeah.
It's so weird to explain.
No, it is, but you know, only people, you know what I'm saying, and I say this all the time, right? Like, I never want to be an adult. And understand what I'm saying. Adults lose. It's like the story of Peter Pan. You ever seen Peter Pan?
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you lose the thoughts of being able to dream, hope, wish, do all those things, you are you've lost your imagination. And what most of the time what these cycles do, creating jobs and loops for us, it takes away your imagination. That's why the people who work and do things like that, when you talk about a dream, they can't relate to it only on the certain things, and they don't understand what comes along with the dream. And so coming along with a dream, you have to explore. You have to get out.
Yeah.
You have to look, and you have to go through the whole cycle of everything.
Yeah.
Everybody who you think is somebody was basically broke, had to go and do this for their brand, do this for their brand. And so I think all you experienced was welcome to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a school. You know what I mean? That's the real school. And then you figured that out and was like, I don't need to be here to do this because this isn't going to teach me about this. And so where are you at with this brand now?
I'm at, honestly, the brand has grown with me. It's matured a lot from just trying to sell t-shirts, just trying to be about money, to actually starting to, I wouldn't say build relationships with my customers, but I definitely speak to them. I talk to them. They want to talk, ask about my experiences, I answer. And the thing that they like the most is I'm transparent. I'm very transparent. Anything you ask me about, I answer, as best as I can, and I'm not really filtered. Yeah. Because as I always say, me telling my story can help somebody else. That can be their survival guide. That can give them hope. And honestly, on my Behind the Brand video, if you go through the comments, that's all everybody says. This helped me. This motivated me. This inspired me. And it's not even, and when I first started, I thought they were talking about, this inspired them to start clothes. No, it inspired them to go better about their mental health. That the battles that they do go through mentally, they can overcome them. Because a lot of people, they think you have a mental illness, and they become that. That doesn't define you. That's not who you are. That's just something that you deal with. And I also tell a lot of people, because people be like, do you feel like you're cured? I don't think there's a cure to mental illness. Like, it's something you learn to deal with. It's kind of like going to the gym. It's like the weight doesn't get,
you got to work on your mind every day.
Yeah. It's like you get stronger, the weight doesn't get any lighter.
That's it.
It's you learn how to deal with it. You build your happiness off of that. And you learn to enjoy life with it. It becomes your best friend. Yeah. If you want to get better, if you want to deal with it, and that's the thing, you gotta want to. You can't fall into substances. You can't fall into trying to escape. Yeah. Because you won't know how to navigate through it if you don't have that escape that you're using. Yeah. And that's my biggest thing, because I've used escapes. So it's like I tell people all the time, like I'm doing 75 hard right now. I'm not drinking. And even before that, I stopped drinking so much because honestly, it's fun while we're in the moment. But the next day I get back in that headspace. Yeah. For at least 2 days. Yeah. You run into business. And I don't like it. Yeah. And it's like, once you see the other side, you start learning how to deal with everything, sober. It's like, you don't want to go back to that. And I fear that. I fear going back into that bad headspace. Like, I don't like to fear things, but some fears are good to have. Yeah. Because I have a place not to go back to, and that's what I work so hard to stay from. And that's why I tell everybody, like, I mean, I read this in a 50 Cent book. Like, he don't smoke, he don't drink either.
Yeah.
More for business reasons. Like, he
Mhm.
goes to these parties, you know, and the bigger boss is drunk. You know, you might find you a new opportunity by talking to him when he's intoxicated. But it's like there's so many more benefits to not drinking and smoking, to not having a clouded judgment.
Absolutely.
And it's like, my life is just so much better. My mental is, and I don't want to mess that up. That chemical imbalance that I've built, I don't want to mess that up, because I know how fragile it is and how hard I worked to get to this point.
Yeah.
And it's like, after working out, that releases the positive, chemicals in your body, those endorphins, those serotonin.
Yep.
So it's like, I can naturally be okay. And I was a person that the first thing the doctors did was put me on medicine, and I had a bad experience. And I wouldn't say I'm 100% anti, medicine, because every mental illness is different. There's
different strokes for different people.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yep.
And, there's some things that, might actually need some medicine to kind of balance out.
Mm-hmm.
But me, all those trials and errors, I feel like that's what's messed me up. That's what led to me actually attempting to take my life.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between having, a suicidal thought and acting on it. There's a gigantic difference. That's what I fear.
Yeah. You know what I think, your brand says the most thing about what it is that you've done. Like, and I'm taking a deeper aspect into it, because I deal in mental health and deal with you having to deal with my own mental health, doing yoga, meditation, just being able to learn how to be able to really focus my mind. Because like you said, I don't want to ever be in a bad headspace again. I love being in a very positive headspace with myself.
Yeah.
And I think it come back to what your brand is the Broken Baby. And so I think a lot of the times what happens is in our lives that we don't go and heal that trauma from that baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that poison to your adulthood. It affects your relationships, how you go about life, your decisions, every move you make. Those things that are unhealed can affect your adulthood, and I don't want to drag that in my adulthood.
Yeah, because it's really a bad place to be at, because you know what I'm saying. Like, it's like I go back to my neighborhood where I'm from, right? And it's people that got to deal with me. They try to deal with me from who I was 15 years ago. I've moved a billion years past that, but that's their thing, to be able to resonate with me.
Yeah.
And so I will never ever be where I'm at to them or whatever. They'll still try to relate to me.
They will still see you for who you were, not who you are.
Exactly.
Because honestly, if I was still in my hometown, and this is the biggest thing that 75 Hard is teaching me right now. It's teaching me how undisciplined I used to be. And I've always been disciplined to a degree. I've always been ambitious. But when I was living at home, if they asked me to go do something, I would drop what I was doing. All my friends back home, which, I don't knock nobody. If that's the way you want to live, that's the way you want to live. But they're downtown Wednesday through Sunday. Out here, I'm looking at that and I'm like, dang, in my free time, I'm reading, I'm studying the market, I'm doing different designs, I'm doing this. I don't do anything that's not productive for and taking me towards my future. In my free time. I don't even play the game anymore.
No, like you don't.
I don't watch TV like that. Like, everybody be like, do you ever relax?
No.
I mean, to me, fun is building towards my future. And every single day, that is another chance to get better and move towards that future. Everything you do today matters for that future.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
And
I'm trying to tell you. Go ahead, keep preaching. I'm
like, all that stuff matters. And honestly, where I'm from, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's kids know that, like even my mom. All my mom's friends are my friends' parents. So it's like they know what they was doing when they was younger that led them to where they are today. It's like the same cycle happens in my city. It's like everybody from the ages of 20, starting at the age you can start going out and drinking, they do that all the way until they're 30, and they wake up and look back. All I did for 10 years straight is go out.
Hey, you know what?
Drink and I went to work, went home because I was staying with my parents, and blew all my money at the club on the weekends. I don't want to do that.
Nah. See, you hitting it because a lot of people don't understand that they're living in a cycle. And once you break out of the cycle, oh my God, You better not be trying to spit no knowledge or do nothing crazy, because I always be like, dang, man, you know, why we can't never be at the barbecues and talk about our credit score? It's because everybody don't want to talk about nothing real.
Yeah.
Everybody got to talk about the fake stuff in life. Let's help each other build something. Let's help each other. I don't, like you said, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get up, I work out, and I'm on it. I get straight to work. Nobody has to tell me to do what it is that I need to do. And I find that fun.
Yeah.
Like, we do not teach that as fun in our community. The only time somebody waking up at 4:30 in our community is when they got to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
How do you gain your work ethic? And where does that? It's just something inside of you that just makes you do that.
Honestly, I would probably, like, if you asked me a couple years ago, I would have said yes. But honestly, in the process of doing 75 hard, my 90-day, what I call mental reconstruction, no, it hasn't always been in me.
Yeah.
I would tell you that no. But honestly, it's okay, because those are things that can be built. Discipline is built with consistency. There's no discipline without consistency. That's the biggest lesson I've learned.
All the time.
You don't get no results without being disciplined, consistent. How do you expect to gain muscle when you go to the gym once a week?
Yeah, you can't do it.
Or even if you go 3 times a week, but when you're there at the gym, let's say you even go 5 times a week, but when you're at the gym, you're on your phone more than you're working out.
Man,
you're not locked in when you're doing it.
Yeah,
it's like you got to think about all those things, the distractions, the things that are steering you away from what you say you want.
Yep.
And that's another thing, like being away from home. I'll get on Snapchat here and there, and I'll watch some of my friends' stories, and it's like, dang, like we all had dreams. Yeah. We all said we was gonna be this, that, and the third.
Them gone.
But y'all not doing what y'all need to be doing to head that direction.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people, everybody has a dream. I just don't want mine to stay a dream. And that's
hold up. Say that again.
I said everybody has dreams, but I just don't want mine to stay a dream.
Ain't that something?
So it's like whether I have a positive influence that I can look to that's on the same journey as me or not, I got to figure it out on my own, which is why I read so much. Like 50 Cent's story, that's the first book I read. And honestly, I'm dyslexic. I never read a book in high school. I can't read and comprehend to save my life. It used to frustrate me so much. Like I would cry because I'm reading this I read 5 pages. Why don't I know what I just read?
Understand nothing.
But I read that book and I made myself sit in my room quiet because my ADD kick in. I hear this, I'm looking. But I read that book out loud. That's why I had to be in a quiet room. I read it out loud so that I could hear it back to me, because for some reason it helps me register.
Yeah.
I read that book and that changed my life. It changed my perspective on everything. That one book, it was Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter.
Yeah, I remember that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is my mom had bought me that for Christmas a couple years ago, and I've always just been so intimidated to open it because of that fear of failure.
Ain't that something?
That fear of I'm just gonna read it, not gonna understand it.
Yeah.
I tell you, I understood that whole book.
Ain't that something? Maybe it was just the book she was reading.
And I'm 9 books in now.
Look at
since
you.
November.
Since November. Look at you. You read 9 of
I spent $350 on Amazon on books.
Look at you going crazy.
Look, ask my mom. We be getting delivery every day.
Hey, this goes to show you that when you face your fears can become something that you absolutely love.
And it can be hot. It can take you away from so much. When I tell you, my mind has expanded so much since November from books.
I'm telling you,
there's so much hidden in books. And in one of the Rick Ross books, he said, I made this book and I want my people to read it. And I hope they do, because they always say, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book.
All the time.
And when I tell you, I said, I'm reading every book, self-development. And me, I don't like fiction stuff. Like, I'm a documentary person if you put me on Netflix, Hulu, I'm going to the documentary section. I like real stuff, real stories. So me, I'm reading anything that's motivational, self-help, any story of somebody's come up, success story, anything that's real. and that can help me through life. Because like I said, even if you don't have a lot of positive role models, I didn't close knit. I had my mom, I had my aunt. They were both majorities single ladies most of my life, and they were really independent.
Yeah,
really did everything their own. They never needed a man for anything. I never seen my aunt have a man until I was well in high school. Mm-hmm. My mom, it's always been me and her. So their independence, I'm hyper independent.
Yeah.
I don't like help for nothing.
Yeah.
So honestly, when I moved to Florida, it wasn't till then that my dad broke it down to me. He was like, look,
you need people.
You need people.
Man.
And honestly, when my dad tells me stuff, it resonates sometimes. Hey. Like sometimes my dad just says something in a way and it's like, oh, you right.
Yeah, you need people. Especially, I'm going to tell you when you don't need people. When you don't need people, when you don't need them to be able to get to where you're trying to get to. So, you know what I'm saying? Like on some real stuff in the world that you don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Because you can go and get you a job, and like, if you love what you're doing, you can get a job doing with that. But if you're an entrepreneur, there's no possible way to do this by yourself. I've been doing this business. I got all my friends, we do this stuff. Like, this is who we are. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I never been at a point where I'd be like, yo, I can't not need people. I can't do this stuff.
But honestly, it went deeper than that. Because see, with my mental health, I want to do everything on my own. Because that's how my dad raised me. Mm-hmm. Like, I gotta handle this myself. If I'm going through something, I gotta do it myself. I isolate real bad.
Mm-hmm. You mixed up the message, you know?
Yeah, mixed up the message.
You mixed up the message.
So it's like, and that's where I go back to. It's like,
yeah.
My dad moved and he wasn't close near. I couldn't talk to him. I couldn't,
So you didn't.
So it's like, you taught me this, and that. You taught me things, but it's like, I see what I'm supposed to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I put the puzzle pieces together and this is what I got.
Yeah, I see what you said.
But it wasn't right.
Yeah.
I didn't have it the right way.
The right way.
We done messed up somewhere along the line. So it's like, that it goes deeper than just entrepreneurship. Yep. You need people in your life.
Absolutely.
You need. I hate when my mom says, she's like, you need love.
No, I don't. Love.
No, I don't.
Yes,
but that's just something that in my life, it's like, I don't want to need that.
Yeah.
Because needing love, you'll be chasing it.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Okay, so check this out. Let me give you the perspective.
All right.
Let me break this down to you, right? So, okay, you don't need love because you were born in love.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need something that you were already born with. But it's always good to have love around you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need love because you are love. You were born in love. You were made in love. Everything that is here is love. People get it twisted. Mm-hmm. Even something bad ends up being good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So everything is love. So you need love.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't need it from another person, because the reality of it is that love will express out to the other person. And then that person will be in love with their self. You in love with their self, and love meets at the ultimate place. Mm-hmm. Because it's only one place, and that's love. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did I break that down pretty good?
And I feel that. It's like it depends on what the word means to you.
Exactly.
Because when I say the only thing I need right now, and the only thing I ever need is myself, because if you lose yourself, you're nothing.
Absolutely.
When I place need on something, it means different from what somebody else might put need on. I need myself. I need food. I need water. The things that keep me alive. I don't want to need love, because to me, when I place need on something, it's like,
it's outside of you.
If you don't have it, it's like, what? Like you I think you go start chasing for it, and I have in the past. So it's like, I don't need it. I love myself.
Right. You don't have
to
chase
good,
something.
It's still good to have. Yes, I want love, but I don't need it.
No, you don't have to chase something that you are. It'll come to you.
Yeah.
That's why people get it twisted. Yeah. That's why when they say you find the right mate at the right time, because you didn't chase it. Mm-hmm. It came to you. Because why? Because you became love.
Mm-hmm.
You became the resonation of love, and then you become this thing where you're not looking for anything anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why people, I think it's more so like I always say that we come in this world naked. The thing that messes us up is that we put clothes on. So then we put clothes on and we try to hide out who we are our whole life.
Yeah.
And then it gets so deeper than this. We even get to the point where we put clothes on at a funeral and get buried with clothes on, and go in the ground and then buy a tombstone and put something else over you to stop from being naked.
Mm-hmm.
Be your authentic self. You were born in love. You were made in love. You have everything you need. Because
Yep.
if you were born, if you the most high, the energy, the universe didn't make you born with money.
Mm-hmm.
So you was born here with everything you need.
Yeah.
And that's the love.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much for just being able to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I want to make sure you say this. So let's do this. If you could be able to say something to the future you, what would you be able to say? And to the future yous that's coming behind you, what you want to say to them?
The future me. If I had to base off of the things that I do every day,
Yeah.
I would just say I'm proud that we finally made it to where we wanted to be, where we seen the whole time. I mean, I would tell the old me to keep going,
Yeah.
but I mean, that was yesterday. So we just got to go harder. I mean, I don't know. I don't talk much to the future me because it's just like my vision's so big, you can't see where it's going to end up. But definitely going to be proud.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, man, make sure y'all go and get Broken Baby Apparel, man. Like, for real. Tell them where you could be able to find you at, too.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook at Broken Baby Apparel. Check out our website at www.shopbrokenbabyapparel.com. If you go on there, you're going to get a pop-up that'll ask you to sign up for VIP. I would go ahead and do that so you can be first alerted of new drops, and you also get 20% off your first order. We got a lot of heat coming out right now.
All right, bet. We're going to make sure we put the links, too, down at the bottom so we could be able to get that stuff, man. For real, for real. Make sure y'all tap in and get some of this Broken Baby Apparel. It's so good to be able to have you here, for real. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you bringing me out.
No doubt, no doubt.
I'm gonna bring a good conversation.
Hey, look, I'm gonna bring you out again. You ain't gotta worry about this. Ain't our last time talking. And two, you know, we're gonna be doing some things, doing some seminars and doing different things like that. And you know what I'm saying? When we start getting this thing popping like that, I want you to come out and talk about your apparel.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely down.
Most definitely, most definitely. It's been a blessing being able to give with you, for sure. And that concludes us another week of Just a Thought. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all tune in. Next week, we'll be right back again at the same time, same channel. Peace and blessings. Blessings and peace. It's the boy, Jarmel Reece. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come over here on Spotify and subscribe to Just a Thought 2.0. Peace and blessings, y'all. Peace.